What's good, people? This is the Option Podcast. This is episode 143. This guy right here, that looks like Derek Zimmerman. We're going to find out. Ladies and gents, the episode starts right now. Let's get back to the women. Do you think it becoming an NCAA sport is what kind of driven? Wait, we were talking about women's indoor, right?
Well, just the pathway, just what I thought changed the game, and I'm talking more beach than anything.
Okay.
But what did change, like the beach aspect for women, was that, and I think Sarah Hughes was probably one of the first products to come out
of that beach
through
thing.
that.
Yeah.
Playing college beach volleyball, and then the expansion that they went from, more and more teams just blew up. I don't even know how many years it's been now. There's a pathway now for these young ladies to actually there's that pathway, that collegiate pathway, just like every other sport is. Mm-hmm. Basketball, baseball, football. What is soccer? What does everybody do? They play in high school and they play in college, and then they go try and play pro. They have a pro league. Like I was saying, there was no pro league here, so the majority of girls who went through indoor, their career's done, except they go to beach, right? And then they were trained indoor, and some of these girls, they never touched the back row. They were never a setter. They weren't that good at it. They had to relearn a whole new game, in my opinion, which is beach volleyball, right? A lot of handset, which is, it's totally different than indoor.
It's like a thing now,
It's
Before
totally
it used to just be Larissa, right?
Right, right. So now this pathway is clear for these women, and I hope this happens for the men's side of it also. I mean, that would be huge. You would see, you'd see even the AVP blow up even more, just like, collegiate has done, I think.
Well,
I think more people would jump to it and want to sponsor it more, that there's just this pathway. And there's already college coverage of the game itself, and they could progress to even more, right?
Yeah, and think about this.
Just like other college sports have. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It just makes sense. It's in everything else. It's in golf. It's in tennis. It's in everything. And we've never had that pathway for men's or women's to go to the AVP. It was always you grinded, you struggled, you went to every tournament you could to play the best people you could to get better, right? And then it was you had the option of moving to California to get better, and that was it. Right? That's what everybody said. You got to move to California to be better. And some people did, some people didn't. Everybody's got their own path with it. But it's a grind for anybody, as you know, to get to the pro beach level that way. Yeah. It was a struggle. It was hard. Now there's some, you're getting all this collegiate coaching, and then you have a product like Kristen Nuss comes through 4 years of LSU, and she jumps right into it. Don't get me wrong, she's a special talent.
She is.
Obviously. So is Taryn. I'm not taking anything away from the team itself, but for her size, she's incredible as a volleyball player to make that big of an impact. And I think that has to do with the coaching that she got for 4 years in college.
Yeah, think about it. There's a free gym membership. Don't have to invest money in that.
Right.
It's an 11-month commitment out of the 12-month, right? Yeah. And some girls have to ask themselves, is this what I want 12 months out of the year? Do I want this to be my full college experience? Some of them, the ones that know right away, big up to them.
Yeah.
Between you and me, dude, when we were playing, we want that to be our 13-month experience out of a possible 12-month.
Yeah, no winners.
Yeah. But there's also a shift in the balance of power, because if you remember, it was very California dominated, and I think there's an old saying, and I'd like for you to chime in on this. Good West Coast teams, players. Good Midwest teams, coaches. Mm-hmm. So, how much do you kind of agree with that? And I mean, we can look at the indoor scene and the beach scene for women, right?
It could be that way. I mean, I guess the opportunity was that. That's your phone, didn't it? Yeah. Just the opportunity was some people just didn't move out there and get as good. Move to California with it, right?
It's true. Like Kristen didn't.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean they don't know the game at all. They're great players or whatever. They just didn't go to that next step level, which is extremely hard to do.
It's not easy, yeah.
No, it's not easy to break through a qualifier scene, like a true qualifier scene where you're grinding with huge amounts of teams. You know, I remember, I think I looked it up the other night, it was 65 teams in a qualifier. You know, that's a lot of teams to go through. And you playing on a Thursday and then hopefully make it just to Friday. And then in hopes to make it to Saturday.
It's true.
You know?
I think you got Hector at TCU. You got Russell and Drew Hamilton doing terrific work. You had Wayne Holly at Tulane. And who's the Israeli cat right now? And I promised we wouldn't do this, right? We weren't going to go this route. But
Zimmerman.
yeah, but just like on a regional scene.
Yeah.
You could you could easily say New Orleans versus all y'all, man, just because of the coaching. And in my estimate, there's an old saying amongst us club coaches, you know, when we coach club, you get paid to coach, caring is free of charge.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I noticed there's more of a heightened emotional investment from coaches to the players and this region more so.
I would hope so. I would
Yeah.
hope so. I hope that's how it goes. It should be that way. It should have been that way from the beginning. It shouldn't be a money-making aspect for anybody.
Right.
This should be something you do because you care about the kids and care about the sport.
In theory, yeah.
You know,
You should.
obviously,
you
money
should.
is going to
Yeah.
be involved in it because you're putting your time into it. But it shouldn't be your main goal going into coaching.
No.
Not at all. Never was mine. You know, other things got me out of that. But it's, it wasn't the money. It was definitely to push these young ladies to just find the happiness in this game. And want to continue playing it. It's something you can seriously play for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's low impact.
Right. Beach or indoor. You could play either, you know, even if you're playing in leagues at 65 years old, it doesn't matter. You know, my mom stopped playing, 10 years ago, so she was in her 60s, you know, and she misses it. But she could play it. I mean, how many sports? You can't go play football until you're 60.
No.
You can't, you know, or, I mean, you can play basketball leagues and all that stuff. You can. But it's just my opinion that you can just keep playing this game at any age.
Yeah.
You know, and have a good time with it and fun with it, and just if you're passionate about it. And I hope some of the ladies that I've coached have found passionate that they'll never quit.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, there's nothing in the world like before we got on the podcast, we were talking about girls. We're watching these girls conquer some demons from the neck up. You know, something's in their way, always gets in their way of winning, and then you work with them and you watch these girls conquer these demons one at a time. Whether sometimes it's physical, just being able to just make a move. But I always think that's the muscle between your ears.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got eventually we can. You're right. We got great workouts. They can do stairs. They can do the weight room. They can do all that stuff. But we talked about like there's nothing in the world like. There's a girl who always loses to this particular team, and they finally beat them.
Yeah.
And as coaches, we feel like we win too, in a way.
Yeah,
there is a sense of satisfaction.
They found that mental breakthrough. You know,
Yeah.
that like you said, that demon that says I can't beat them, but you
Right.
can.
Yeah.
You know, it's a perception in your own mind that I can't do this, and you're already putting up a roadblock in front of you, which you shouldn't do ever.
Yeah.
You know, sports performance. I mean, isn't that out of Chicago?
Yeah.
Sports performance.
I think so. Yeah.
Which the huge club out of Chicago. We played them, I don't know, 5-6 years ago with the girls that we won a national championship. And these girls surrounded the court, all in their joggers. You know, all the other teams came to support their team, and it's like either quarters or semis or something like that. And we had 8-9 girls. No, wait, we had 10. We brought 2 extras from other teams. But they're standing there, deer in the headlights, going, "What is going on here? Holy crap!" And, you know, and we're just this Louisiana volleyball team, and that's what we were called, Louisiana volleyball. And they were frightened. And they're hitting balls, and they're all clapping for each other, and the big support. And we hadn't even hit yet. And I could just see this. I'm sitting on the bench, and they're shagging the balls for the other team. And I'm just looking at them. I said, "Oh, Brandon,
You're like, dude, we lost before this match even started."
I looked at Mig, and I said, "Dude, I got to get up. I got to say something to him." I started walking behind him, pacing. I said, "What are y'all looking at? What are y'all afraid of? What are y'all doing?" And they were just afraid. You could see it. And I said, "They're here for a reason, just like you are. And not any better than you." I said, "You can hit a ball like that, huh, Mick?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I went, "What's the problem? Get out of your own head. Come on, we got this." And I started clapping. I was like, "They got to clap. We got to clap too. Come on, let's get ours going." You know, and I just started changing their attitude about it so that they could see it in a different light. That hey, we're in the quarters, we're in the semis. We were the #1 seed in the whole nationals going into it. We went 55-2 on the year. That's matches.
Dude, come on. That's
It's crazy.
That's terrific.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, but here they are. We're the number 1 seed going into the nationals, and they're afraid of another team
Right.
because of the perception behind them. They had to get past that. This is all just a show.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen on the court is going to happen on the court. Don't allow that to cloud what you can do, and just play. Just go play and see what you got. Give it your 110%. And I saw their change in their attitude as I was talking to them behind it, and then we came out and beat them in 2. Didn't go
That's
3, and
terrific.
it wasn't like it was close. Obviously, they were a great team. Not taking anything away from that club. That's they're huge, but we beat them in 2, and it was like, there you go, girls. Y'all got afraid for nothing. And so hopefully that made every step past that, whether, like I said, whether it was the quarters, the semis, the next step, the next game, the next match. Hopefully it was easier for them to mentally prepare instead of being afraid.
Well, your approach to that is residual, meaning that they're like, wait a second. The next time,
can take that
the
on
next
for the
time
rest
I
of their
feel
life.
that, I can say, hey, wait, they're human. They're people
Yeah,
just like we are.
exactly,
They got
exactly.
they didn't get all dressed up for nothing, and neither did we.
Right.
Totally get
But
that.
that was that whole perception behind them. That was the club coaches sitting there saying, we're going to flood this and we're going to make them afraid.
All right.
And then I had to look at that and go, hold on, how do I get them from not being afraid?
Yeah. How do you?
They shouldn't be afraid.
How do you get them to not lose this match before it even started?
Exactly.
The match
And
hasn't even
that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
100%. You could just see it on their face. They were just,
Yeah.
holy cow, like, what's going on here? And it's some of those girls had been in that position already at nationals, and some of them hadn't.
Yeah.
So, and then they're also growing. They were 15 years old. They're growing.
Literally growing.
Yeah, they're literally growing in every aspect, life, everything, the game, everything.
Is there a particular way? And I talked to Bruce this afternoon, and we had a great
Yep.
conversation about coaches that line up kids up against the wall. Look, this one's tall, this one's whatever. You're going to be a libero. You're this and that. And I love Bruce. He's like, first of all, that coach is fired. He's not.
Right.
He's not
Right.
working with me.
100%.
And I also talked to Brian McDermott from Progression Beach Volleyball in Chicago, indoor beach.
Okay.
And it's one of his huge pet peeves. And he basically said, I hate when a coach does that because the
Yeah.
girl's literally, never mind literally still growing. She's still figuring out things psychologically. And you
True.
have no idea what that girl's capable of, right?
Right.
And when he said that, the first person I thought about, I gotta get Derek Zimmerman on his podcast because I'll bet you he has something he wants to say about that. So, for me, I'm gonna go first for like 20
Sure.
seconds.
Go, yeah.
I basically said I will look at a girl and say, don't let a coach tell you can and can't do something. Right?
100%.
You're 5'9". If an outside hitter, if the stereotype is 6 feet,
Yeah.
I'll tell you that life's not fair, and I'll tell you that they'll be looking at that girl first,
100%.
and I'll tell you that it's not easy, and I will tell you that you have to run 150 meters for the 100-meter dash.
Yeah.
But with that being said, if it's what you want, there's the stairs, there's the box.
Yeah.
I'm the coach. Let's get to work.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I mean, you said you nailed it. You nailed it 100%. I mean, there's going to be those girls who get overlooked just for height, and that doesn't mean they're good. It just means they're tall. Now,
Yeah.
I get it. You want to use them for certain aspects of the game, which you need to be taller. 100% agree with that. Well, that's also where height does come into it, which also comes in, what's your vertical? Well, how quick are
Right.
you? How smart are you in this game?
Right.
What's your IQ level of volleyball, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge. And IQ is not meaning what you know; it's how you retain the information
Yes.
and spit it back out. That's the IQ of a volleyball player. That means a lot. And if you can retain the information that a coach will hand to you, and immediately get it right back out there, that little girl might be gold, or that guy, they might be gold.
That's a win. That's a win, man.
Yeah, it
That's
could
a
be
win.
the game changer in a match.
Yeah. They also and this is I was going to get into the conversation of what we'd like to see an improvement in club volleyball, and I don't know if it's been a minute since you coached club.
It's
And
About 5 years.
And maybe we'll talk about that. Wait, quick question: do you miss it?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I still talk to two of the girls on my national championship team, and forget how they did through college, stuff like that. Spoken to their parents,
Yeah.
and every time it just brings a smile to my face that I made a connection with them and that they still remember me and the things that I taught them and how they felt through those moments. And you see it pop up on your phone from Facebook, and you're like, oh, man, that was such a good time. And then you text them, and I do miss that.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's more the personal connection I miss with everybody, the parents, some of the parents, some of them, our parents ruin the game.
That's club. That's club.
That's sports. That's youth sports.
Sometimes they can be the biggest enemy.
They can.
Of a child's progression.
Yeah,
right.
100%, because they think their kid's better than what they are, or they want their kid because they are the best, that they want them to have every hit and the whole. Calm down here.
I think that generates from what you previously just said.
Mm-hmm.
That they're under the impression. Sorry, parents, but they're under the impression that their kid is they actually think their kid is better than they are.
Yeah, that's the majority of it.
Yeah,
in my opinion, because everybody sees their child. Well, I don't have kids, but I would assume that everybody sees their child as the golden child.
Yeah,
my kid's going to be the best. He's going to be the president. He's going to be a doctor. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe they can be best in something else.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not the best at athletics, but they love doing it. That's okay too.
And some kids know that too.
Like
some kids.
But the parent that doesn't see that they're only here and they're only going to get to here, and they're never going to get to that next step. That's the parent that hurts coaching.
Yeah.
And hurt that team, and they can in a very negative way, because now the kid's complaining, the kid's demeanor, because they're talking to the kid on the way home. And the kid's saying, "Well, I'm getting any time. Well, I'll fix that," and I'll go talk to the coach, and then it's like, who's the coach here?
Yeah.
Who's the coach here? Why? I'm at practices. You're not sitting there practicing what your child's doing or the progression she has or hasn't made. It's detrimental to the whole team.
Your parents didn't sit in practices?
My parents normally coached.
Oh, okay.
They normally coached me through the years.
No, I mean the parents of the club teams you coached. They didn't sit in practices?
I had a couple. They stayed almost every time, but I had sometimes barely met the parent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't just sit there for the 2 hours. But a handful of them did. I know. And those are the ones that I really got in tight with too. Was the ones who stayed and they saw. And then it was also the parent that they were also 15. They had to get picked up. They weren't driving yet.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I think the personalization came with of the parents was when you're doing the one-on-ones after practice, and you knew which kid wanted to be better. So they put the effort in. They stay late every Tuesday, no matter what.
And that's when the parents have a decision to make, right? Like some of the parents and the coaches, the clubs I coach, they're positive reinforcement people, and they really want the kid to get a kick in the ass, right? Yeah. So they're like, I think they're probably looking for a coach that can talk to their kids the way the parents do not. Right, some parents are strict or whatever, and maybe they need that kind of coach that's positive reinforcement where they come back.
That's why it's hard coaching, because you don't know how these kids were brought up. Yeah. You don't know whether they were left to do on their own and progress on their own, or a parent was that strict and stay regimented. You don't know who they are unless you have them for 3 or 4 years and whatnot. I
mean, at some point we're 95% sold that there are some kids that we ended up caring more about than the actual parents did. So there's that kind of parent too.
Oh yeah.
And then there's the parents that are smothering, and then there's the creepy parents. And when it's always like playing with their daughter and his weight, it's like I'm getting all Chris Rock now.
Everybody's out there.
You got your molester uncle. Right. Told you don't hang out with Bobby. Now walk it off.
Yeah, where are you going over here? Where are we going with this story?
Now walk it off. So we had this kind of reinforcement where we tell kids, if you want to be this, it's going to be harder for you, but if this is what you want, that was my philosophy, and we can shut the door now. You closed on that one.
Yeah.
What's I think, and I want you to take over on this because we were talking about parents that sit in practices. The thing I love about coaching club is when a parent is at practices, and I had one particular one. It was every practice. Got his beach chair indoor and sat there.
I got 2 in mind right now.
He had like he had the little Pancho Villa mustache too, and I told him at the end of the season, I said, there are things that you didn't get then, that as you patiently watched, you got now.
Yeah.
There are things that you didn't get then that you probably still don't maybe you
Yeah.
still don't get, and that's okay too.
It also depends
But,
on the parents' knowledge of that game. Did they play sports? Do they know this sport that their child's good at or
Right.
wants to play? You know, maybe your dad might have been like, let's just say, Brett Favre's daughter. He's
Yep.
one of the best ever in football, but what does he know about volleyball? And his daughter's playing volleyball.
Right.
You know,
And what does he know about
What-
coaching? Right.
Maybe.
As far as delivery and being able
Yeah, I
to
don't know. I don't
communicate
know anything
those
about
things,
that.
right?
But,
Yeah.
but he's not going to sit there and chime in on it when he doesn't know anything about it. But because his background's different as a father,
Right.
or as an athlete, he doesn't know anything about it. But then there's that kid whose parent played a little volleyball. Do you want that parent?
Mm-hmm.
Because then they might, I don't know. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, because they could sit there and say, well, no, that guy knows what he's talking about, or he's sitting there doing the reverse of that and saying, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. Listen to me, don't listen to them. And now you got this, kids get scrambled eggs for brains
Jeez.
with
He's
what
the
to
one
do.
that loses, right? Yeah.
With what to do.
The kid's the one that
Exactly,
loses. Yeah.
exactly.
Well, for me, we've been coaching long enough where we can answer that, right? I'll give you an example.
I wish I was longer in
I'll give you an
coaching.
example. Brian Ivey, right? Olympian, star, USC.
Absolutely.
Actually, the first college game I ever watched was 1990. It was on Big Channel 2. It was Ivy. No, it was USC against Long Beach State. And that was Greenbaum, that was Ivy, and we're turning back the clock here.
Yeah. I know those names you're talking
Because,
about.
right?
Yeah.
Because we can skip that whole generation and talk about this.
For sure.
And then I could share this with old school volleyball, and everybody's
Yeah,
fucking
nobody
happy
be
now.
mad.
Yeah,
Nobody be
right?
mad.
Yeah, so it
getting
was
kicked
Ivy,
off.
it was Greenbaum, it was Nick Becker, it was Tom Selleck's kid, I think Jason Bernard or something like that.
Tom Selle's kid played?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I
know Tom did.
I think his name is Jason Bernard or something like that. I'm not
I
sure.
didn't have the same last name?
No.
Interesting fact.
No.
Sir.
And he was at the game too, so they,
Interesting.
Chris Marlowe, who was calling it,
Yeah.
Chris and Paul, who were calling it, pointed him out in the crowd because he was
Yeah.
also a Trojan. He also played at USC. Tom Selleck played indoor at USC.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just knew he
That's-
played some beach volleyball, and he was kind of, I know they put that on Magna PI,
Yeah.
but that was like a known fact.
But then you
He
got the other side. You got Zach Small, right? Jason Stimpig, who were a very good setter.
I know Jason.
And this goofy
I played
foot
against
called Brent
Jason.
Hilliard. This guy had a lefty approach and hit with his right that had a bow and arrow, or like a trigger that would just go ahead.
Lefty approach, right hand.
That's you, right?
Goofy footed. Yep.
You know what? If it's so damn bad, then why are all the great players?
I don't know. There's
So-
a few players that do both.
Yeah.
I mean, Troy Field does both.
Yeah. Phil.
Phil.
Tina
Karch.
Gradina.
Yeah.
From Latvia, who actually played at he should play for Dane Blanton
Loyola?
at USC.
Jose.
Yeah, Jose Loyola, goofy foot.
Yep.
Lion King, Sam Morlos
That's
from
right.
Latvia.
That's right. He is too.
He's more Karch because
Yeah.
Karch would goofy foot, and then I'd watch him again, and then he'd do a traditional
He'd do
one.
different. Yep.
I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm seeing shit. I was just seeing things.
I thought so too.
And then I'm like, wait, he just did it again.
I did that with Troy just at the last AVP. I did
Yeah.
it with Troy. I was like, hold on a minute. I know he jumped goofy footed, and then I watched him again. I went,
You're
really?
like, oh, okay.
He flipped that around on me?
Okay.
Okay. I
And
like
you're
that.
like, he
I like
just did
that.
it again.
I like that. I like that.
But
I mean, I can do both, but I switched. I think the reason why I can do both is because I switched my jump serve
okay.
to regular footed just to create a little more torque and having my hips
Yeah.
open.
Well, biomechanically.
Yeah,
it's
and because the
supposed to.
toss was right hand, and then I had to turn. It's easier when you don't not tossing the ball. Whatever.
Did you play more left side or right side?
Left side?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So left
left
side.
side.
And that's crazy. I mean, in indoor, if you have a goofy foot and he's already an adult and you can't change that guy's step, most of the time he's the opposite because range-wise he has that. But every single goofy foot that we were talking about that has enjoyed this heightened level of success were left sides. Tina's a left side.
Yeah.
Phil's a left side.
Yeah, Phil's
Lion
left
King,
side.
left
Yeah,
side.
left side,
Derek
yeah,
Zimmerman,
yeah.
left side. Karch Karat.
Yeah. That's right.
Career, lifetime left side, indoor and outdoor, right?
Yeah, but he changed his approach indoor.
Yeah, he did.
He was a
In 88
regular
he did.
footed,
Yeah.
and then he changed it.
Or
when he
84
went
is
to-
a goofy foot.
in
I watched. I have an old coach, Mario Trebich, who was one of my mentors. He was the assistant coach on the women's team, USA team, and he gave me a VHS tape. He said, "Dude, there's no color commentary on this. No one has that. Watch it tonight and give it back to me." He wasn't supposed to give it to no one, and
Yeah.
I watched it. It was just crowd noise, but no color commentary. And
Sure.
the third play of the game, someone blocked a serve. Craig Buck touch blocked a serve and they covered that, and I was just like, when you see that, you thought maybe someone blew the whistle and like the middle was having fun or something.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, it was legal to block a serve back then.
Really?
Yeah. You ever see Sixers games in club, and you see a team you're going against, or you see a team in a tournament where the girl on the middle on serve receive is at the net with her hands up?
Yeah.
That's an old school coach.
Huh.
That explains.
Yeah.
Because guys like you and me are like, what the fuck is this girl doing? What is she? She's screening on her own team.
Right. You're in the way.
Woman, you can't block the serve.
Right.
You think you can block the serve? Guess what? Sometimes you take a look at the coach. He might be a little bit older than us.
Yeah.
A little bit more seasoned than us, or
you could be getting the girl out the way because she can't pass.
Yeah. So just
saying.
dumbo her ass at the net.
Just
and
stay
make
here.
Sure.
Maybe she's doing the weird thing herself because she thinks she's blocking.
And the girl's on serve receive. I'm gonna get off the screen and doing this shit on the screen.
Scoot over. Right.
In my experience, and I'm gonna punt this back to you, the higher the level the parent that played, the more they let you do your thing.
I'd have to probably agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think because they get it. They've had the coaches. They've been coached by really good coaches, and their parent didn't get involved, or they've seen it. Yeah.
All right, we got it.
Yeah.
No, I turn it up. It goes on the fan. It just stops.
Perfect.
See how the sound disappears?
I understand.
Yeah.
I was about to say something to you about it. But I think they just get it. They understand that I'm not the coach. I've given them the tools, but the coach is going to do his job per all the other kids that are on this team too. They understand how good your kid is, but where does my kid fit in on this team? And that's what the coach's job is supposed to do. It's supposed to be. Where do they fit in? Not what the parent thinks they're supposed to do. So at a higher level person or a player, they would understand that hey, the coach has a plan. And I'm not involved in that plan. I don't know what's going on in his head unless they sat and talked to you, or say you went up to him and said, hey, you got any advice for me?
There's that.
Right?
Yeah.
There's always that, and it's probably not a bad thing. You know?
It's never a bad thing, especially if you have a good relationship with the parents. Like Sarah Stratton,
Yeah.
had a great relationship with her, and she's a teacher, but she's into sports psychology for kids.
Yeah.
Design. So that's her specific function. So we've always had that. We never talked about volleyball because, like, the knowledge I had for indoor, compared with her knowledge for beach it's a non-comparative. It's not comparable. I'm Michael Jackson and she's Tito.
Yeah.
So Toto, you a Toto.
Toto.
That's Tito, man. Toto's what we have for dinner.
Right.
But what we were talking about before, muscles between your ears, great dialogue with that woman.
Yeah.
And she's like, you do want, because she was not a big believer in tough love. And she's like 90%, almost 100% positive reinforcement. And I told her, you will never see a championship team that has one or the other. Completely. Never. John Mayer right now doing some good things at LMU.
Yeah.
The king of positive reinforcement. And as someone who's coached longer than him, dude, I learned from that dude. I've taken some tools from him, and that man, at least, especially on the beach, is my superior.
Well, you just kind of nailed everything in any aspect of life. Just take something from everything.
Yep.
And make it so you can better yourself.
Yep.
And this game or anything. Take little snippets of everybody and everything around you. And progress forward with your life.
Well, look, there's an old saying in theater.
It's huge in sports too.
Yeah. Well, I learned that, oddly enough, from theater. Because I was always a good player. I was undersized, but I have a big wingspan. My wingspan's 6'8".
Yeah, you told me that.
But
I don't think mine's that at all.
And when I started coaching, I was a great X's and O's guys. I could tell you how to penetrate a defense, but I've never had a bunch of girls follow me and listen to everything I say, and they still sucked. And that's big self-examination thing. What the fuck? The men were no problem.
Yeah.
And it was because my military, I was very strict. And I'm a Gulf War vet and this and that. My father, old school Humphrey Bogart looking dude, strict. And something I learned from John, but prior to that from theater, women excel through camaraderie, through sisterhood. Never say anything to that girl in front of her team that makes the other girls alienate her.
Right. Well, for
The
lack of a
guys,
better-
we're fucking morons. We don't care.
Well, for just lack of a better thing to say, two totally different animals. 100%.
Yep.
You know, they really are. On the ways that they learn how to do things. I've had guys look at me and go, yell at me. I want you to tell me, no, do it that right. Get on me about this. And I'm
Yep.
like, okay. You're going to make me look like an asshole, but
Fine.
touche.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Best man for the job,
Yeah,
right?
I'm here. I'm
Between
here.
the both of us,
Yeah,
I think
I'm
we
here.
got
I
that
do
covered.
that. But then it's different talking to these young ladies.
Yep.
It also depends on the age of the person, too. Who you're coaching. I mean, a 15-year-old girl and a 20-year-old girl in college is a totally different woman.
I agree.
They're totally different people, and how they want to be talked to or treated or coached, is you have to figure out your player. That's the biggest thing, is getting to know who they are and how they're receptive to everything. And that's hard.
Right.
That's hard sometimes, especially with the younger kids, because they don't express themselves as easily.
Yep.
So you kind of have to have the little digging moments with them. Hey, what's up with you? How are you? And you see it on their face. I think we talked about that last time. You see, the demeanor on some kid's face, and you're like, hey, what's up? You start to realize it and recognize it. You start to get to know them just as much as like anybody, like a friend.
It's like a friend,
right?
yeah.
Like a friend. You
Yeah.
get to know them as, by just how they walk into the gym with their bag, or just
Yeah.
the face or whatnot. You go, hey, what's going on? You want to recognize those things to maybe get them out of it so that they perform better that day, and just to see what's going on with them. And
Yeah.
hey, is everything all right?
Yeah.
Because as a coach, you want to be there for them for anything.
But as a coach yourself, did you find out once you know how to coach the different animals? We're talking about the different sexes collectively. Did that allow you to take the next level and see things person to person, like individually?
Like help from me.
No, for them. You as a coach helping them.
Oh, well, my first year was just absolutely easy. These girls they weren't on any team. Brandon Mig kind of knew these girls because he had daughters the same age, and they weren't on any other club, and he was just kind of handpicking these girls. It's just hey, they're not playing anywhere. How about you? How about you? How about you? And then I kind of got thrown into it. Only the second year was I a little more involved in grabbing. I think we only picked up 2 or 3 different girls. But as far as getting to know them, that was simple.
All right.
For me.
Okay.
Because
I mean,
I guess that's my personality.
Yeah,
for
I was going to
that.
say your style is conversational.
I like talking to people. I like getting to know people. I don't care how old you are. I mean, I've been trying to break through with my best friend's daughter for years. Okay, and I took her to we played Friday night in the league because her mom and dad weren't. They were going with her little brother because he had his championship baseball game, and he was
All
like,
right.
"Man, would you come pick up Kylie so she can play with y'all? Because we're not going to be there." And I went, "Sure."
Yeah, let's do it.
It's the first time she ever jumped in the trunk with Uncle Derek, and stuff like that. And I'm just sitting there talking away, and she's all, kind of tight-lipped or whatever. And I was like, hey, you don't have to be like that with me. Come on, I've been knowing you your whole life. And I want her to just come out of her shell and talk to me. So I do that with anybody. I don't want you to be afraid of me. There's no need of that. There's, for any reason, no need to be afraid of your coach. No need to be because they're just trying to grow up.
Right.
And that's how I see it. They're trying to become adults. I'm not trying to push you back down by yelling at you or bitching at you or anything. This is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to be having a good time out there. And that's what I try to make practices like.
Right.
Yeah, you messed up.
And I
That's
think,
okay.
Don't you think that's where some coaches fall short? Like
that yelling-
they were
yeah.
raised on tough love, and they only
was.
know how to kind of do this. Even as late as today, like I was out at what the hell's that place called?
Mango's,
Juniors
yeah.
tournament, and Sean asked if I could referee a game, and I'm like, sure, fuck it. I just don't,
Yeah.
I'm like, do you want me to use my whistle? But it wasn't that kind of environment. You
Yeah.
just on a high chair, and I'm like, wait, no one's using their hands, no one's blocking, so no net violations, no doubles.
Yeah.
Dude, just keep score. I got the one job. You got
Yeah.
just the one,
You got
dude.
one job to do.
But during the timeout, I just heard the coach. You guys are sucking right now. Do you want to go out there and not suck? Whatever, and this and that. So, and I'm like, and I'm listening to him, and when he said that, I'm like, interesting. And I gave him a pass because I thought there was something that was supposed to come after that. I thought he was kind of like poking at him a little bit, and I was like, all right, look, here's how.
And maybe
Because sometimes you break, because I've had to break down and build
Yeah.
up, but during a timeout, we had this limited amount of time to talk to them.
Yeah.
God, they just got their ass kicked.
Make it something more
The reason why they're
positive,
calling a timeout is because they're getting their ass kicked
and
anyway.
it's negative, and you're in a bad spot.
And now
Let's make it
during the
better.
timeout,
All right. I'm not going to keep telling you about the things you're doing wrong. What can
Yeah.
we do to make it better?
yes,
Yeah. And I don't know.
No.
See me, I get personally mad at myself inside.
yeah,
People think I'm so mad at everybody else or whatever. The only person I'm mad at on that court normally is myself.
Yeah.
Because if I'm losing, it's all on me. That's how I feel.
well, it's also what made you good too. It's that kind of personality that
I'm hard on myself.
Yeah.
I hate making mistakes. And I'll say this. Playing with Evan, when I grabbed him at 17, okay, and he would come off the court. Man, you see that big hit? It's great. You're supposed to do that.
yeah,
And it wasn't I was trying to be negative about it, but I wanted him to see the other aspect of the game. It was like,
Right.
well, hold on a minute. What about the 5 mistakes that you just made? And he was like, huh? And I was like, oh, you remember the big hit at point 3, fourth serve of the game, whatever, you remembered all that, but you didn't remember the shank pass on an easy jump serve,
Mm-hmm.
You didn't remember that. That's a mistake. That's a mental error. Those are the things that are going to make you great, right?
So
and
you
those
went-
are the things that bothered the hell out of me.
So you went from bad teammate to good coach.
Bad teammate? Never been a bad teammate.
Man, you said that shit to me. I'd be like, screw you. And
This was after. No, but this was after the game. This wasn't in the middle of the game.
Oh, okay.
This
Yeah.
is him and I talking about the match.
yeah.
I'm not talking.
Oh, after the game. Yeah.
After the game, yeah, absolutely. No, not in the middle of the game.
beat
Man, did you
the
see that
hell
big
out of
hit? Well, of course. Hell,
Yeah.
high fiving you. Good job,
Beat
brother.
the hell out of each other.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
After the game,
But
yeah.
after it, the coachable moment for him is what I was doing was showing him, hey, man, everybody out there can hit the ball like that.
Yeah.
When you're going to get to that level. And I already knew he's going to get to that level. When you get to that level, you're not special bouncing a ball. You're special when you make an error-proof game.
Yeah.
That's special.
Or you're special when you make that bounce when it counts,
Yeah.
right? Let's say it's 21 up. Got to win by 2.
2019, Phil hitting that ball in Austin
Yeah.
to end game 1.
Yep.
I mean, that was nasty. And that's total confidence in who he is as a player,
Yeah.
too, and what he sees and what his partner put up for him,
Yeah.
who was his first time ever playing with him there in the final. And that set
gotta-
with a bounce like that, that's
Dude.
insane.
I got to tell you, I did a podcast after that, and I was trying to find a way to salute this man's quasi-GOAT status, because right now I'll only do top 3 American GOATs. I'll go Karch, I'll go Randy, and I'll go Phil for the American team. Those are my top 3 GOATs, greatest of all time. So I'm trying to find a way to appreciate and show respect for this man's GOAT status, and at the same time, not cast aspersions on the men's division that let that shit happen. Like this man rolls off the couch, 43. I'm going to play some back row defense. Let's split block Andy. Let's have a good time. And wins. And you want to salute. I mean, I had Mark Fornicari. And as an active player, Mark Fornicari carried the GOAT status that allowed me to go to the men's division and say, what the hell y'all doing? And what about the rest of the world scene that has the same size players that didn't allow Phil to do that shit?
Look, I played a lot against Phil.
Yeah.
And was around just watching all his games for years, playing in the same tournaments.
Well, do you have him in your top 3 GOAT list too?
100%.
Yep.
100%. But nobody got to see the defense of Phil. Phil was excellent on defense, even when we were 20 years ago.
Yep.
He really was. He could move like you look at him and think, that guy's not quick. He's not fast. He's not going to get there. He's ridiculously athletic.
Yes.
Ridiculously for as tall and thin as he is.
And anybody that's watched him block, when you see his move, the one move on the pull, on his pull, or you see a one move on serve receive, he doesn't have wasted moves. So even the people that never saw him play D shouldn't have been surprised that he can do some of those things at the elite level.
I mean, when they were split blocking, I didn't think anything of it. I was like, I know they're going to do well.
Yeah,
I just
did
didn't
too.
know.
I just know they're gonna win.
I don't know Andy. I don't know him at all. Banesh, right?
Oh, Banesh is kind of the future of American big men.
I think the first time I saw him was Chicago last year.
Yeah. Well, he gets everything he deserves. I mean, I saw the biggest sample size. I was in Atlantic City. I was calling on court 1, and him and Billy Allen made it to the finals. They lost to Kane Schalk and Theo Brunner. It's a tournament that no one talks about. 100K purse.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Atlantic City. And now the AVP was like, wait, we're going there twice this year. So good for, I say for the AVP, good for them.
You think that's because of Bally's?
Yeah, 100% because of balance.
Yeah,
But because there was great feedback.
Yeah.
It was the first time they had a double elimination qualifier. So winners bracket was
I wish we could have some of those back.
Winners bracket was 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
And losers bracket was 1 to 21.
21?
28 or something.
25, yeah.
And you know what? No light nights. No night lights. They banged it out before dark. It was great.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
and I'm
awesome.
like, this is a great idea, and I hope they keep doing
There's a
it.
handful of qualifiers I wish I had another a second loss.
Dude.
Or
Yeah.
another chance, the true double elimination.
I got to tell you, I was Jeff Samuel's coach for a couple of those tournaments. Like one was Dave Palm, guy from Florida.
I know Dave well.
And I felt like the biggest fail coach ever. Like, dude, we have pets. We have a cat or a dog that could sit under that umbrella and they could make the fucking main draw. And I'm like, man, we ran into Brandon Clemens and Dylan Marek. Brandon, you don't know. Brandon's a Harvard boy. Outside hitter, but was still fresh from the indoor scene. So that jump serve speed that indoor people have.
Yeah.
That I know you don't like this term, wrist away, that he has. Don't throw the microphone.
Old school doesn't like it either.
No, none of us do. And you know what?
All
of
old
a
school
sudden,
on Facebook, they don't like it. They're like, get away with wrist away.
but wrist away is like a song that they play on the radio and that you start singing yourself. And as a commentator, I was like, wrist away, wrist away, wrist away, and I threw up in my mouth a little bit. But anyway, this guy.
Yeah.
5 different ways to hit cross because he still has that indoor mentality. Like he treated Dave like a double block, and we lost to them 2-0, and I was like, man, that just felt like shit. I felt like I was useless.
I mean,
but like
you're just there as a coach, though.
Yeah.
You're not out there playing the game for them.
No.
Both of those guys are great.
And we did only train for one day.
Yeah, that's true.
He came in the day before. Yeah.
I did the same thing with Evan and Logan in Chicago last year.
Yeah.
I didn't really know him, trained with him the day before and stuff like that. I mean, I know Evan, but I haven't coached or done anything with Evan in 4 or 5 years now, whatever it is.
And that was very classy gesture on his part, too.
I was happy to do it. I wanted to be there. I'm glad I was there. I really was glad I was there.
I was glad I saw you on center court. I'm watching Chicago, and I'm like, because I didn't make Chicago. I wasn't at Chicago.
Jake retiring, I didn't know. I had no idea. I mean, I've played against Jake one time before, him and Adam Jewell.
Yep.
Back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they beat us 21-14, 21-15. Nice. But I knew Adam. Adam came up right when I came. And I played in the qualifier series that they had years ago. And Adam was on. That's how I knew Adam. But anyway.
Adam Roberts?
Jewell. Adam Jewell.
Adam Jewell. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Adam Roberts, too.
Okay.
Adam, his longevity is ridiculous. But I didn't know Jake was retiring, so I was glad I was there to watch that. And to be there for Evan, I just didn't know what to like. I'm sure you felt the same way. I don't know Logan on that personal level. I'll meet you the day before. I'm trying to get a feel. I think I asked a couple people, and they were like, "What's his name?"
Like a straight
Corey
shooter.
Corey Robinson, Corey Chaos.
Yep.
Right? He knows him, and he and I talked a little bit. And he was like, "Well, you got to do this, you got to do that with him." But then again, I don't know him, so I don't feel comfortable saying anything like that to him. Besides just little things that I'm seeing. Hey, press later. A little bit, or just to keep him calm. I don't really know how to approach you.
Because keeping him calm was the scouting report, right? I guess from other coaches who worked with him before.
I think it was more not letting him get in his own head,
right,
and get in his own way. Like he would just mentally.
He's with John Hayden now, right? Yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah, I don't think
partnership.
Yeah, John's a good guy.
Yeah, they made the last day, right, in Austin. They made day 3 quarterfinals.
I didn't see.
Yeah,
I didn't see.
Yeah, but it was great.
But getting back to going, being that coach, that's an amazing thing that he asked. I'm appreciative of it. I love the kid, and then I got to meet Logan.
Nice.
And who kind of helped bring him to that level, which is awesome too. So, and he was a nice guy. Saw him again in New Orleans a few weeks, a month ago.
Man, that serve to space was awesome.
Yeah, and
that little right-hander's cut that was going right shoulder and then winding up in the middle. And dude, I'm like, you should never serve position zone 5 or 1 until they fix that.
Logan could be I think he's going to be a force as long as he just gets himself. I think he's on the right path.
Yeah.
I think he did a lot of traveling. He said that year that they, he drove everywhere and all that stuff. I think
Yeah.
he just needs to settle himself down.
And he sets his goals
and,
right.
Yeah, and just keep that focus on this, and that's it. He's going to get there.
I
really do
interviewed
think so.
interviewed Logan in Huntington Beach. It was a FIVB ABP.
Not that he's not already there.
No. Well,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
to get to the next highest level.
That's what I'm saying. He
Yeah.
ain't there until he is.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah.
So,
No disrespect at all.
no, of course. We respect every player.
100%.
We respect the player who loses in the first round of the qualifier, No, I got a friend, man. I just want him to win one. If he wins one qualifier match, I feel like he can say that part of his life's over with. And he
So-
could behave like a mammal, Not who you
No,
think.
no, I know. I know.
Yeah, it's
But
a
how do
friend
we-
of mine. I'll
Would you
just say
consider him a pro?
no. I wouldn't, but
Or a player on the AVP?
because that's a conversation we want to have.
Or
all
a
right?
player on the AVP?
No. A player in the AVP, no. A pro, that's a question of fact because just because your job sucks and just because they don't pay you well doesn't mean you're not a pro.
No.
It just means your line of work sucks.
All right, so you're saying a guy qualify, or you're saying a guy win a match
All right.
in a qualifier?
Guy qualifies, hits the main draw, that's an AVP pro.
Yes.
All right. A guy who's doing well on a regional scene, these $1,500 tournaments here, finishing second for 8, finishing first for 15. I would say beach volleyball pro, but I wouldn't say AVP tour pro.
Let's do old qualifier ways, not like they have the tournaments today where some of the top level guys don't come.
All right.
And that's a smaller tournament, like Dave Palm and
Yeah.
and
Samuels.
just the last one.
Oh, Dave Palm and
Oh, he's gonna kill me.
because they did well, man. They won.
won.
Rafu.
Yeah,
Rodriguez.
Rafu. That's right.
He's gonna kill me. I was his
I know.
fucking coach, dude.
I just hung out with him at the
dude.
tournament. Me, him, and yeah.
I love
Sorry
that
about
dude.
that. I apologize.
I got great stories about him, but we'll
He's a good
talk
dude.
about him
He's
later.
a real good dude. But that's a whole different tournament.
Right.
That's not the same thing. That's like a qualifier. So getting into that tournament, let's go old school qualifiers where it was single limb. You don't win a match.
No. Right.
I'm consider you an AVP player. You're not.
No.
My dad could sign up for that in '73, and anybody and his
But
best
when
friend.
your dad was playing, that was for fucking board shorts,
Well,
right?
you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I'm just saying
Yeah.
anybody can sign up. If if they allow it and there's enough space in it, you can sign up and play.
Right.
This is no joke. I have played 2 guys in jean shorts in a qualifier. I'm not lying to you.
They saw the Top Gun movie or something.
They knew it was seriously. It was in Birmingham, Alabama. It was 2 older gentlemen who they had never played in AVP.
Steve Kahn played in the qualifier
I don't know who that is.
with Matza. They call him Matza.
Oh
He's on the
yeah,
West
I
Coast.
know who that is. I know who he is.
He plays all the time in the qualifier.
We played with Van Sweden in a few of them.
Yes, who's the
Steve.
guy? Who's also the guy that's the MC on the West Coast that MCs? Mark Schurman.
Oh yeah.
He plays in the qualifier, the Manhattan qualifier every year.
Yeah.
I get what
Yeah.
you're saying.
See what I'm saying?
That's not a fucking pro.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I get
know?
that. But I'll put it this way. Jeff has only been in the main draw one time the last 3 years.
Okay.
But on the regional scene,
Yeah.
makes more money than Avery Drost.
Yeah.
He's more of a pro than Avery Drost is.
Understandably.
But the language, I think you're talking about the explicit nature of the language. AVP tour professional. No, you're fucking not.
Yeah. Are you an AVP player?
Right.
No.
So we had a fun, and I like
You
the
can be a pro at
conversation
it.
because it's a serious conversation because we're proud men and we don't like people insulting our sport.
Yeah, or
So
disrespecting.
the conversation could have been serious, but you and me were the right people because we were the best because we could have that conversation
Yeah.
to keep the mood light,
Sure.
but still tell the truth.
100%.
There's no
100%.
way I can fucking. You know me too well, and you're too fucking old for me to bullshit you, right? And
Too honest, too, when it
given
comes
my
to
age
it.
too, we're on this podcast right now, and there's gonna be like, dude, there's gonna be 10,000 people watching this podcast because they're like, these two are too old to bullshit each other. And I bet you there's a fucking moment in
Well,
this
that's the-
podcast where they have to remind each
Here's
other
the deal with
of
me.
that.
I'm always going to speak my mind.
Yes.
I'm always going to say what's on my mind
Yeah.
and the truth about it.
Yep.
Okay? I don't have a reason to lie to anybody.
No.
I don't.
You-
How about this?
Yeah.
I don't care enough.
No.
I don't care enough to lie to you.
Too much energy.
It's too much energy. It's too much.
People living in your
I don't get
your-
it.
your
And you're
head
stumbling over
rent-free.
yourself.
No.
Everybody's lied. Everybody's lied.
Yep.
But I'm just too old for that. Just
Yeah.
like, it's just dumb.
Yeah.
And that's been for years. If you don't like what I have to say, then don't listen.
There it is.
Change the channel. Do whatever, all
Are we old enough to remember the knob?
Yeah, that's why I did that
Right.
instead of remote.
You
Right.
take these two fingers because they specialize for turning the channel. Well, that's what we turned into as a society, right?
Yeah.
When I grew up, like I'm 51. When I grew up, there was a black and white TV. We had channel 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 13, and 2 Spanish channels that
Shit,
if
you
you,
had
that
Spanish
if you
channels?
worked but if you worked the UHF, the ultra high frequency,
Yeah.
you would get that. But with that being said, bottom line, okay, if I saw a show I didn't like, I get up off my Brooklyn butt,
Yeah.
out of the chair. I know people are like, wait, he got up?
Yeah.
No remote control.
Yeah.
Take these 2 fingers. I'm gonna see if I can put it on the camera because they specialize for that. And you turn the fucking channel.
And say,
You
"See
turn
ya."
the channel. Enter present day.
Yeah.
Big screen right here.
Same difference.
900 channels.
Yeah.
And instead of changing the channel, which they don't have to get up to do anymore. They have
Right.
remote control.
Or
Instead
even
of
tell
changing the
Alexa.
channel, they choose to be offended. They
Yep.
choose to sit through every disgusting frame of something that turns them off, and that is why you don't care.
And also
that is
that-
why you've given up.
Yeah, and
on
also
some of these
everybody's
people.
perception and everybody's view of what something is different.
Yep.
I'm seeing something different than you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'm seeing it.
Yep.
Try putting yourself in my shoes and seeing it from where I'm at,
Yep.
and why am I saying that? Ask yourself that first before you think somebody's just an asshole.
Yeah, 100%, dude. I fucking love that.
And I've done it myself.
Well, we're
human.
we're not machines,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're people. So
I got a lot of
yeah.
flaws.
Yep.
I really do. I really do. But that's the thing with life is you can keep working on them and you can keep getting better as a person.
The ability to self-correct is
Going through a lot of that
is
right now.
instilled in every human being. Not every human being exercises that, right?
Yeah.
We have flaws and failures that just come with our DNA,
Yeah.
but God or someone or science or whatever,
Yeah.
whoever your God is for the
Sure.
listeners,
Spiritual, whatever.
they equipped us with the ability to self-correct.
Yeah. And you said the best word in it was exercise.
Yes, exercise.
You don't use it, you lose it. You
Yes.
don't exercise your mind, you don't exercise everything. You just
Everything.
It either stays the same or it goes backwards.
The mind is very much like that.
Very
If
same
you don't
thing.
stretch it, you lose the flexibility.
And I can't say that I haven't lost focus on some of that myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Past couple of years have been a little bit of a struggle for me with some things, and
Yeah. Hurricane.
getting back.
Yeah.
That's not it for me.
All right.
That wasn't anything devastating. I just see that as that's just life.
Yeah.
That's just a way of life down here. There's
Right.
going to be one come through, and one of them's going to be good, and one of them's going to be nothing. I mean, not good. One of them's going to be terrible, and it just destroys your city, or breaks a couple of trees, whatever, or just takes part of your roof off, and you got to go through the bullshit of getting it back. That's
Right.
not a stressor for me.
No.
That's just things that happen. It's like, I don't know, it's just life.
It really
I'm just
is.
talking about myself, with getting my head straight.
Yeah. And your evolution.
Yeah, and being, I guess it's just growth. It's just growth. Trying to be a better person every day.
Yeah.
Seeing life that way. And I think I lost it for a little while in seeing that. I think, I get put it this way. I guess talking to more people about that, I've learned that most people go through that. A depression or just losing themselves and whatnot, which I have.
Right.
And it's not fun.
No.
But now I also recognize it in other people.
Yep.
And it makes me see people in a different way
Yeah.
and see, like, just reading their face. And you can go, is there something really wrong? And so if you're a real friend, you walk up and ask.
Yep.
And sometimes you catch them right. And they spill it.
sometimes you don't.
And that's
Yeah.
good. And that's good. And that way you can possibly help them out with it because you know where they're at.
Yeah. There's nobody that's appreciating your journey. Well, maybe there is someone more than me, but right now I'm a prisoner of the moment. There's no one that appreciates what you went through, and some things you still are, but you're still not that. Nobody appreciates that more than me. We had a great conversation last year, and that was like 4 hours of whiskey in a dive bar. But you'd be surprised, like. There are people that can know you half your life, but what we banged out in 4 hours.
And Jason, I'm probably different from that point.
Yeah, you're even more different from that.
Yeah,
dude. I'm not trying to make this about me, but I've been homeless Slept on New York trains for almost a year. You know, my parents kicked me out the house.
Wow.
And that was a scary time for me. You know.
But you grew from it.
I had but I had something that happened in my teen life that was blocking me mentally from moving on with stuff. And when I discovered it through theater, I went back to school. I was a returning adult student, and I thought theater was just like faking it till you make it. No, theater is real human behavior in imaginary circumstances. So they bring out all of this shit, and all of a sudden something comes out of your past, and you start crying on stage, and people think it's from the scene, and it's not, and it is, and it's not.
Right.
And I really started asking myself these questions, not even having answers, just asking the question, retrospective action. And from that point on, boom, started getting, went back to school, got straight A's. I was a 4.0 like my first 2 years in college. Graduated like a 3.71, which is, magna, I think.
That's fun.
But the point I was trying to make was there was always somebody that says something or does something, or maybe just someone helping you that's an inciting incident that creates this ultimate reversal. Not ultimate reversal where you're the polar opposite of what you were, just an evolution, a different version that you're optimistic, if not hopeful, that's slightly better.
Or you can just see it on a linear line.
Yep.
Okay, and you just eschew just a little more this way to hit this destination that's over here, and you keep eschewing just a little more to get to that point. Yep. And every time you change it, it goes a little this way, it goes a little that way. But you see what I'm saying?
Makes
that little
complete sense.
That little minute decision can either throw you a little bit this way, but the further you go away, you have to keep correcting to keep getting to where you want. And that's how I see it, is how to fix myself. It's just these little bitty corrections.
And
but they're always going to be there.
Yeah.
They're always going to be there. Nobody's 100%. No one. If we can live at between 70 to 85, I don't think you're doing bad, because we're not perfect.
No.
We're not going to be 100%. We're not going to be 90. Nobody lives that fantasy dream.
No.
Okay.
I'm living a lot of it now, man.
Well, no, there's highs and lows.
Yeah.
There's highs and lows, which is good.
Different moods. Yeah.
Yeah. But anybody saying, "Oh, I'm 100% fine," you're wrong.
No.
You're fooling yourself.
No such animal.
You're fooling yourself.
Yeah.
But that's why that progression is every day.
Yeah.
To get yourself better and to see things in a different way.
Do you know I was more depressed my first year moving to California? Like, I thought it'd be this paradise or whatever, and this and that.
Why so?
I was more depressed in that first year in California than I was when I was homeless, and I had nothing. I'm moving to California. I got a little money put away for a rainy day. My wife, I'm not going to talk about her job, but let's just say the amount of money they pay you to talk about money is ridiculous, and I'm glad I'm on her side. But the whole concept of having to pay dues all over again.
Yeah.
And people trying to treat you like a 20-year-old, and
unfamiliar
and then you
scenery,
jump through
people you
people's
don't know.
hoops, and you do all the right things, and you give everyone their respect, and you feel like you're running and on a treadmill. You're not running a distance where you're actually attaining distance, and you're seeing new sights, and you're moving forward. You're on a treadmill where you're doing all this work and burning all these calories, and you're in the same room seeing the same thing. That's how it felt.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, I said, if you want to kill me, take me back to Brooklyn and kill me. All right? I said, take me to the Verrazano Bridge, put 2 in my head, let me die like a fucking man, all right?
Yeah.
Don't let me die here in the I said in the desert. I call Hermosa Beach the desert. I said, don't let me die here in the desert like a
never rains.
Snake. like a dead ass. Someone's going to make a pair of boots out of me. I got through that stretch realizing what you realized, that one, this is not an intense situation of depression. This is something I don't need medication for. This is something I acknowledge. I'm not alone. It's not an unnatural feeling.
Yeah.
And I kind of got through it. And the best way I got through it is the same way a lot of people do it. Don't look to the left or the right. Keep your fucking head in the work until something breaks. And the thing that broke, honestly, Deron Forbes, gave me the shot at Endless Summer. John Mayer, loved. He met me in Mexico, absolutely loved. We talked about coaching. We felt like we were both in the minds of a genius, because he felt the same way I felt, even though I felt more of that way about him, because he's so quiet, you don't see him coming. Me, I'm a fucking big mouth. You see me coming, right? So
relate to that.
John Mayer, Deron Forbes, and there's a guy named Duncan Avery. God bless his kids who are dealing with tumors or whatever. Both of his kids have a tumor in the same spot, and we pray for him. But evolution, that was the Brian Ivy's kid or whatever.
Yeah.
So those 3 people gave me an opportunity, and all I did was I made a room, 3 monitors, and all I did was watch volleyball videos and break down every tournament, every game, and then, and the summer ended up having like the best, top in recruitments per capita. John Mayer ended up winning the WCCs. They beat Pepperdine from the losers bracket, no less. And Evolution, who was 41st in California, ended up finished as high as 5th at nationals in Ohio. So I didn't disappoint them, but this depression thing where I'm like, I've been doing this all my life, and just because I'm in a zip code with a bunch of cocky dudes, and I'm like, you do know I fucking forgot more volleyball than you know. As hard as it is for those guys to swallow, but as hard as it was for me to swallow, I was not completely right on that either.
Yeah.
So I had to humble myself, but that was a bad year for me. I'm fucking I'm 47 years old.
Depression's no joke.
47 years old, and these dudes, these guys they're not even good businessmen. Never mind volleyball minds. We're not going to talk about coaching because they still got. In my mind. In your mind, we always feel like we're the best until we're not.
Right.
Fuck it. We just say, all right,
Right.
fine. If it comes off pompous or self-serving, I'm going to just keep it real.
But that's how I have to.
I always feel like I'm the best coach until I'm
Sure.
not. So I'm not going to talk
Until
about
you lose.
coach. I'm not.
Right.
But I'm not going to, so I ain't going to have that conversation with them no more, all
Sure.
right? And 2 guys who actually punched our ticket as a coach instead of picking up guys in a draw. And like you said, they can all go kick rocks. So I'm not talking about coaching. I'm talking about being a businessman. I'm talking about how to treat human beings. I'm talking about not being phony.
Yeah.
Not and
That's
that's something you can
been.
appreciate.
I've never been phony. I don't have the time.
You've been a lot of things, man, but
Yeah.
that's
Asshole.
no one.
Any other name you want to call
no.
me, I've been.
Phony's
100%.
fighting words, dude.
For sure.
Phony's fighting words.
The other words would have been fighting words too
Yeah.
back then.
Phony,
just a different
racist, and phony
Yeah.
is like, look, I can hold my own because I'm ex-military, and and MMA is like my thing when I'm not watching volleyball.
Right.
And I ain't fighting nobody, but you call me phony or call me a racist, I'm a 2-piece. You're going to get a 3-piece and a soda, dude. Pop, pop, pop. You're gonna get a 3-piece and a soda,
I like to think it was
dude.
3-piece and Popeyes. I'm kind of hungry right now.
Yeah, so you got the reference. Dude, we're having steak after this. You got to come through. It's a great spot. So, God, I didn't mean to take it to that route because I had a lightning round I wanted us to do.
No, that's a good thing, man. I think everybody needs to.
So
there should be more talk about all this stuff.
Lightning round. This is a lightning
Lord.
round question. We got 60 seconds to answer. I'm taking you back to club coaching, all right? Give me a situation where you made a decision that the parents and maybe even some of the players thought was kind of like not logical, not sensible, but wound up the right decision. Would you like me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
All right, cool, 'cause-
I'm thinking back 5-6
'cause
years.
it's a lot. I
I
think
don't
if I
even
go
know
first,
if there really
it'll
were
allow you
any.
to,
To be honest with you,
But I think what I'm going to say is going to it's going to
Maybe.
throw something in your brain.
maybe so.
So, all right. So evolution, we're out of the gold bracket, right? And we're in the silver, just trying to leave winners. The club life, educating people on the scenario. We're in game 3. It's in the finals for the silver bracket, and I have a 15-year-old on my 17s team at the end of the bench. Hasn't played all weekend, and we're up 15-14, game 3. And I'm like, you want to go in and serve? He's like, yeah. So I'm like, dude, all right. So just jump float, position 1, because that's right work as coaches.
Yeah.
When in doubt, go 1-to-1.
Yeah.
See if the setter turns his back, becomes more predictable, and we're better on defense, blah, blah, blah. So he goes, yes. He looks in my eye and he says, yes. And then he goes on the court and he tosses the ball 25 feet in the air. And he gets a 3-step approach and he jump serves. And I won't use the W word. He turns position 4.
Mm-hmm.
And this ball had such a nasty drop that the guy trying to pass the ball dived, that time's up. But he dived for the ball and didn't touch it. The guy trying to pass it.
Yeah.
And the parents who are watching him play just go. And I went like that, winking. And then another parent, like the guy subbed him out out for his parents. He says, "You got a big fucking set of balls. I love you, dude." So that was my moment of not logical, not sensible, but wound up right.
When I honestly, I only really coach. I did a lot more training of people.
Okay.
and it really wasn't a lot of that either.
Yeah, talk to
The
me
coaching,
about that
the
then.
coaching more was just for 2 years with Brandon Migg,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't the guy making all the decisions. I was the guy who helped with everything with these young ladies technically. I could see, their footwork, their arm swing, their passing form. All of that is what I more focused on. And I also focused on more the mental part of the game. Brandon was more the X's and O's as to what we're running and that kind of stuff when we coached. So, like, on the court, if one of these girls turned around, they'd look at me for what they did wrong,
Right.
kind of thing. They wouldn't look towards Brandon because I had them more. I guess my biggest thing was you need to self-analyze before you even look at me.
Mm-hmm.
But that was, beginning of the season, and then you brought it to the end of the season. As to when they turn around at you, they're already shaking their head going, yeah, I already know.
He got it.
Right? So I never had those, like you just had a coachable, like a moment that
Yeah.
changed something that might have been questionable, because I was never the guy who made all those decisions.
Yeah.
Brandon normally came up with those kind of scenarios, and I'd go, sounds good, do it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I was really laid back as a coach. I wanted to get to them on a technical level, not coach like the positions and all that other stuff. I just wanted you to play the game better and have fun doing it.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to get in their state of mind as to,
Complete sense.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
I wanted them to not. I've seen so many kids over the years, they turn their head to the coach.
Yeah.
They turn their head to the coach after every play.
Yeah.
And it's
Because
like,
those are sideline coaches. Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
We go through all this in practice. When you turn to me, I want you to look at me and go, I got it. I know what I did wrong.
And that's it.
That's what I want out of you.
And move
now
on.
I get it. They're young. Now, if they can't figure it out in their own head real quick, then I'm gonna go. What? And they're like, I can't, because there's only a certain amount of time between the play, right? And they look at you and, I go, and if I feel that they self-analyze, they're not kidding themselves, with saying, yeah, I don't know every time. That kid who's just, I don't know, because they're not trying, to analyze themselves or whatever. Right. Well, when they do, and they know when they don't. But the majority of them, they did it at first.
Mm-hmm.
They would do, I don't know. And I was like, come on.
But
I got them through the year to actually, when they turn and go, when they said they don't know, they didn't know, then I'd sit there and I'd answer right away.
Yeah.
But I also knew that they were self-analyzing. That to me was huge.
Cool, man. All right. Hey, lightning round question number 2.
Here we go.
And this one, you got to go first.
Oh, God.
In 2001, I'll give you an example for indoor. There was an introduction of the libero. There was let serve rule. There was rally, and there was the taking away of receiving. Actually, double hit was now a protected call for first contact.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Receiving serve open hand.
So,
Right. Yeah.
and on the outdoor scene, big court, short court, new lighter ball for away from the new Wilson instead of the Spalding top flight, which turned
Yeah.
into a fucking egg when you hit it too hard.
Some of
Still,
them.
I still
The
love
old
that
leather
ball.
ones.
No, but come on, we love us some
Real
top
old
flights,
ones.
dude.
The top flight 18?
Yes, but if it rained and it got soaked, man, you got to serve underhand, dude. You know what I mean? It's crazy, but.
Destroyed my shoulder
So
too.
you get to pick one of those sports, and you have 60 seconds. If there's one rule for indoor or beach that you would like to see the new rules do away with and go back to the other way, what would it be? And you can choose indoor or beach. Floor is yours.
I think that I just don't like rally at all. I think going back to side out is I understand why they don't, but one game to 15,
Mm-hmm.
it creates a different type of player. You can't look at a ball that just went over line and not try and go, I'm just going to side out the next time. Maybe,
Yeah.
but
Or
that takes
maybe
that all
not.
out of your head. That takes that all out of your head, that I have to earn every point. And that 100% made me the player that I was playing old school like that. It was that grind.
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, you remember the grind. It was a 2 hour and 15-minute match to 15.
Dude, yes. Great. I mean,
And none of us cared. None of us were backing out of that. We looked forward to it. I've lost matches. I've lost a game like that, 16-14.
right.
It shouldn't have.
Would you keep game 5 as rally? Or the deciding game as rally?
Oh, so you're going best 2 out of 3? See, I'm just going strictly beach.
Okay,
One
if
game
it's
to
beach,
15.
would you say Oh no,
Yeah.
Beach 1 game to 15.
One
There is
game to
no
15,
2 out
there
of
is
3
no 2 out of
sets.
3. Yeah,
Boom.
yeah,
All right.
and end it that way. And I don't know that the matches really go that much longer or whatnot.
Yeah.
You know,
This
I
now,
guess-
and now this episode belongs in old school.
and well,
Yeah.
when you shorten the court, well, then why would you take away the side out scoring?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just didn't make much sense to me.
I'd
I
like-
like both. I do like both.
I'd like
I
to
can't-
revisit that one.
Yeah, I
that
can't say I
question.
don't like both though. I do like both.
Let's revisit that question because I think my answer leads to
Yeah,
that question.
okay.
So my turn on this one. For beach volleyball, I'd say absolutely nothing. I like the lighter ball; it's easier on your shoulder. I like that rally and let serve move offsets each other, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
no one's gonna want to serve tough if they think the top of the tape takes away the ball. So, with that being said, I'm just gonna go to indoor. And the one rule I just want them to take away. I do not like first contact being double because referees are incompetent. They can't decipher a carry from a double. Some guy jumps in the air, takes both hands, does that. No, it's a double, but it's also a chuck.
Yeah, you're also
and it does,
changing the position of the ball.
and
Yeah.
my biggest complaint is it only affects the lower levels. Like if you look at the Olympic Games, you look at the pro leagues, nobody receives serves with their hands anyway because the speed of the serve. Sometimes someone serves short. Yeah, the middle take is with his hands, run a back one and boom. But at the highest level, the ones that are the least affected by a lot of these rule changes, and include short court a little bit, are the highest level players. This only affects people at the lower level, and sometimes it takes away the actual skill
I agree
that
with
requires to play this game. It's supposed to be bump set spike, not smudge set spike. So
or double set spike.
yeah,
or lift set spike.
I don't even know if that was a question just so we can fucking rant, but
Right.
but it was it was super necessary.
I do agree with that point too. I will say that I don't like it either. I mean, I'm old school. My mother taught me to pass the volleyball.
Yep.
2 hands together against the wall, and that's the way you did it. Period. And everything. The way that people talk about volleyball is either you play it really well or you play picnic volleyball. And that just gets into the picnic aspect because if you go to any picnic, that's how everybody's playing,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And to me, that makes the game look worse.
Yeah.
And that's just it.
No, it looks
every
like a-
commercial you see that has volleyball on it,
It looks like
it's
a game.
horrible.
It looks like a game and not a sport. It looks like a game and not a sport.
Well, to
it,
us.
it could be Parcheesi.
To
Might
us,
as well.
to
Yeah.
us it does. To people
Yes.
who know how to play the game. But to
Yes.
people who don't, they go, well, that just looks like every other picnic that I've been on. So it doesn't matter.
That's right.
But to the people who play volleyball, well, you're seeing this. It just doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right. Even when they change the rule, I mean, I do it sometimes when I played indoor, receive open hand or whatever.
Right.
But the majority of everything was platform pass, everything. Just because I'm better at platform passing than I am at hands passing.
Yeah.
And there's people going to argue that, oh, you can't be, whatever.
Well, things can go through your hands. Nothing's going through that.
Right.
Nothing's
Might
going
shank
through
it.
that forearm.
You can shank
Yeah.
anything.
I have a friend, Ren Osborne, kind of a queen. He is known as the queen. He's like this exotic male or whatever, and he said something I'm going to share with you. The game looks more beautiful when you do it right. And some of this hot dog stuff that's now legal or whatever. The game generate a fan who's never seen the game will stop and watch when they see you do something that we as volleyball
It's a
purists
skill.
as volleyball purists consider right.
Yeah, doing a skill in
yeah.
that perspective sport.
Yep.
That's what that is. That's how I see it. It's a skill.
Cool.
And this could be done by almost anybody quickly. Mm-hmm. Think about it.
Yeah.
Almost anybody.
And you know who I blame? All of the old coaches that thought it was a great idea. Like first of all, Al Skates is like, oh, it's great. It'll speed the game up. And because it was Al Skates, everyone said, it'll speed the game up. And I'm like, it's 2000 and he has, with respect, he only has like 2 marbles rolling around right now. I mean, he's the greatest of all time, the college coach of all time.
Yeah.
But at the end of his career, I know it's the biggest dirty secret, and I'm gonna just say it on the podcast. It was assistant coach driven, and you shouldn't just suck up to someone if you disagree with him.
True.
And he was one of the guys that thought how wonderful it was, and his rationale with no real evidence except
What's the
except
difference?
his.
I don't understand
It doesn't
that.
speed up the
Speeding
game.
That
No.
doesn't make any sense to me.
No, you know what would speed
How?
up the game?
How?
You know
How
what would
does
speed
it?
up the game? Don't give a guy 13 seconds to serve when he has 8 seconds. The guy dribbles 8 times.
You made a video of
holds
that,
the
didn't you?
Right. Did you see the video?
I
And
did.
he holds the ball out
Right.
in front of him and stares at the ball. Let me.
Well, that's Antetokounmpo in the NBA. Is that him?
Yes.
Is that with his free throws? Yeah. And they're all sitting there counting 1, 2, 3.
And it goes in, and he smiles at everybody.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But they know he's only got a certain amount of time. Right.
You know what I like about Greek freak though? The free throw goes in. That guy who wastes our time at the service line.
That's his routine.
50% of the time he misses. That's a routine that's fail.
Yeah, but that he's got to go through his routine.
I got a team yellow card for that.
Yeah.
I was assistant coaching with my friend Justin Stack at Baru. Big shout out, Just. And we're playing either Springfield, who's kind of a powerhouse D3 team, or Stevens Tech. And the bench started silent counting. The ref blew the whistle to serve. We're 1, 2, 3. But our silent count, because people are quiet when he serves anyway, the whole gym started catching on 5, 6. So we're the home team.
Yeah.
9, 10, 11, 12,
Jeez.
13. So, and the guy averaged 11 seconds or 13 seconds. Finally, the bottom ref tells the top ref to give our team a yellow card.
Why you? Why not them a warning?
And I said, so you know what I'm about to say next. So we get a yellow card for you not doing your job. That's what you're saying right now. We get a yellow card for you not doing your job. That's what you're telling us. Say, like, you want a red? I'm like, fuck you. Yeah, give me a red. How about take that yellow? How about draw a joker on it? And I'm an assistant coach, and I'm trying not to F my guy, right?
Right.
Assistant coaches ain't supposed to talk. But I'm like, how about you draw a joker on that and put it in your back pocket?
That's hilarious.
That's misconduct.
Wish I'd have known that one years ago.
That's what No, but I asked him why. Because he gave the bench a yellow card. You can't. I'm like,
what are you doing?
He's like, what do you mean why? I'm like, well, you can't do it without a reason. What's your reason?
Yeah.
And he said misconduct. And I was like, and I said,
counting?
I said, take the card, draw a joker on it,
Yeah.
and put it in your back pocket. That's misconduct.
And see, that's where it gets into refs too.
I said, I'll take the red now if you want. He never gave me the red because I was like, dude, I dare you. I was so mad.
He knew he had no grounds to stand on, and I hate the fact that a ref actually has done that and taken something that's not even a rule and implement it into telling y'all to stop doing something that he doesn't like.
Say it with me. He gave us a yellow for him not doing his job.
Yeah, 100%. That's sad. That's not your job. You can't tell us to shut up on the bench. We're not yelling obscenities or doing anything wrong.
All right.
We're counting out loud because you're not doing your job right.
All right, 2 more lightning round questions. And then we're gonna get some steak, dude. I'm a carnivore and I'm appreciative. We got a 9 o'clock. You're driving. Yeah, or I'm Ubering, huh?
I can't go like this.
I'll give you a shirt. Whatever.
I got shorts on.
All right, so we'll speed this up then, and you'll join us later. Lightning round question number 3. I'll go first on this. Who is your GOAT team from the men's and women's, and who's your GOAT player? And I'll go first on this one.
As of now?
As of present, well, no, greatest of all time. If you, I'm going to go first.
If I could pick 2 people.
I'll give you an example. I'll go first on this, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, my greatest of all time team, I would say Misty and Carrie. 3-time gold medal, and Carrie played well on beyond her career. And Misty May was one of those girls that had, there's very few killers in this game. Misty was one of them. Kristen Nuss is another, and you could call Betsy Flint one of those women like, I'm gonna F you up if you serve me. That was so greatest player in the female. I would go Jackie Silva, first openly gay player, Olympic gold medalist for that first Olympics. A kind of girl who didn't care about shaving down there with the bathing suit. We're all good, all right. Now for the men, I got Stokely as my GOAT, and greatest team of all time, I got Karch and Steffes. So that's an example, and I got 15 seconds left on my rationale because it's really tough to just mention one.
Sure.
So allow me to highlight another GOAT, Phil. Got to give him his respect as an individual, and as a team. You could say Phil and Todd, but Phil's really enjoyed that success with everybody. But when the gold medal's only handed out to 2 people, right? And you consider when it started in 1996, there's only a handful of people that have an Olympic gold medal, right? I mean, Dane, Fenoya, whatever, and this and that. But so my GOAT is Stokey, and my GOAT team is Karch and Steffes. Yeah. So that's an example. Here's your 60 seconds. First one that comes to your mind, you're not trying to disrespect somebody, and you could plug somebody. You could plug people at the end, but it's trust me, we'll get. YouTube's going to blow up in the comment section over this, and we want it to. So, go ahead.
I'm going to go the same with Misty and Carrie. I've met them both personally, and they're rock stars, both of them, 100%. What they did for the sport in that long run that they had, 3 Olympics,
Yep.
kind of just put beach volleyball on the map at the Olympics also. And that's why I think
Well said.
those two for sure are my GOATs. Men's side, the utmost respect for Karch and everything he's done. Also Kent.
Yeah.
And
A consummate professional.
100%. I know he's been labeled an asshole, you know, and arrogant. And
We're the best players in the
self-centered
world. All
and
of
whatever.
goats. All our goats are assholes.
You know, everything that he's writing on Facebook is, you know, you've read all that stuff that he's put.
Those chapters are great, man.
They're absolutely really good insight to the professional beach volleyball and just the mindset of a great athlete. Call him an asshole, call him whatever the hell you want to call him. He was one of the best.
He really
period.
was.
And he was part of that Karch run also, right?
Yeah.
With how many Karch 146 wins. He's a huge part of that.
Yeah, he really was.
Huge. There it goes. There I am in the mirror.
There we are. That's time to go.
So he's actually he's one of those guys that's up there for me. I think some of the. I'm also going to put Brian Lewis on that level.
Wow.
As
What
a-
a, there's
as
a
a
name,
goat.
huh?
He was also another guy that wasn't liked that much, and until you got to know him, in my opinion, and I did. Don't get me wrong, I had an altercation, a little jarring, back and forth.
But it's
you know,
Brian
and
Lewis.
but it's Brian Lewis. But that's also
mean,
me.
you-
But
yeah.
he also respected that part of it, and every time I saw him after that, it was
Came with that
dapped
same
up and,
energy.
hey, how you doing, man?
Yeah.
You know, it was, hey, I came with the same energy you came, and I wasn't taking your bullshit, and it was a little respect level right then.
I like that.
And then, Phil.
Yeah.
You can't say enough about that man. Is what
His
he's
longevity,
done.
his
What he's-
sustainability.
What he's changed in the game. He was the first big man. He was bigger than Woody,
Yeah.
and Woody was phenomenal. Okay, he really was. You know, sorry he's going too.
Yeah.
But
God
Phil
bless.
changed that game.
God
He
bless
really
him.
did for the big man, and with his athleticism and who he is. And I also think that he could have, if there were more tournaments, like back when Karch and Kent were playing,
Yeah, there was 26
there was
stops.
26 stops. Yeah, like what, 92, 93, there was 26 tour stops.
What, that's like an average one every 2 weeks.
Right, that's crazy. And then
Yeah.
we've had years there's 8.
Yeah.
That's you know, so him with however many wins he has now, was he in 76,
And still be the
77?
winningness, yeah.
Yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, where would he be if we had 26 every year?
It would be.
Now, he also did play a little more international ball than Karch did.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that evens out totally, but
Well,
he's definitely up there.
What
in-
impresses me about the both of them, the reason why they're both in this conversation, in my opinion, is because of longevity. Karch did a really, really good job taking care of his body.
Yes, he did.
And when he had to have reconstructive surgery on his shoulder, his rehab was so good that he was hitting harder.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that was to him, that's the whole purpose of the surgery, right?
Right.
Now enter Phil. Phil doesn't use, we talked about, he doesn't use big moves. He doesn't do wasted moves. So if you're not wear and tearing, jumping like 40 inches all the time and this and that, and if you have a technique that allows you to play in these tournaments,
Yeah.
tournament in and tournament out, and you stay in the winner's bracket, or like the way the EVP set up now, right? You win 5 matches, you won the tournament.
Yeah.
Well, 2 on Friday, one on Saturday.
Yeah.
And your semis and finals. So this man found a way to sustain his I guess I'm talking about wear and tear.
Yeah.
Like some people, they wear and tear and they're not that, they can't be that version of themselves and they have to recreate their game. Phil didn't have to do much recreation. He just, because his wear and tear was not the same as everybody else's. Like,
Yeah.
Phil doesn't jump high as he used to. He never really jumped. He just had great timing.
Yeah.
He had
He
a
pressed in
jump,
the right areas.
But he had great
He
timing.
put his hands in the right
and
areas.
that
Yeah.
never went away, right? No, not a lot of wear and tear on his shoulder because he didn't get served a lot.
Yeah.
Right. And most of the time that he used his shoulders really jump serve to space. So,
True.
so the whole time I'm casting aspersions on the men's division for letting him do that. At the end of the day, he's really very much Phil from 2008,
Yeah.
but with a bigger IQ.
Yes.
So
Better knowledge
yeah,
of
there's a part of me
himself,
that's
too.
talking out of my ass on that
that's
one.
okay. That's how it goes. Well, then thinking back
yeah.
about it on it also, you got to put a few other people in that category for their longevity. You know, Jake, Casey.
Yeah, 100%.
Shit, you can even
Talk
go,
about
you can
general
even
nutrition with
you-
that dude.
Yeah, you can even go Adam.
Yes.
Look at Adam. I mean, he might not have won a tournament or whatever, but he's always there.
He's a consummate professional.
And you look at, he's in shape. He's not 6. He only think he's 6'2".
Right.
You know, that's incredible. He's the new Matt Unger.
He really is.
I mean, not Matt Unger.
Matt the fuck is his name?
No. Matt Unger. I can't
Two
believe
two old guys can't get.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Jimmy Nichols.
Yeah.
You know, he's the new Jimmy Nichols as the Godfather on tour. You know, as for longevity, that's another guy. I mean, how many players did he play with over the years? That was 20 years. They played.
Spent a lot of time in New York. Spent 4 years in New York.
Yeah. So you got to give a lot of credit to a lot of people. I mean, GOAT status is, I guess you call it tournament wins.
Yeah.
What have you accomplished? But there's also a different GOAT status for me. Is
for grinders,
what you've done.
For grinders.
100%. You know, the guys on the back burner who are just always there, always have been. How long have you been winning in this sport?
Yeah.
You know, and we could take that to a different level. There might be a guy locally in New York who what was
Elvis Rodriguez.
How long did Elvis win for?
The guy was like the king of New York, dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That guy was great. I mean, I played against him. He was tough.
I've seen him in qualifiers, him and Cassay with no block.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit the 10-foot line. I'll be here.
Right. So which guy in your area?
Camacho. Right. Yeah.
Well, he was good in all areas.
Yeah,
he was everywhere.
Smoking cigarettes in a technical timeout, man. That is.
I played with him for a year.
Awesome.
I played with that guy for a full year.
Do you know he was? This is in 2019. We thought he was. I haven't seen him in a while, and I just thought he was fat and round. Mm-hmm. He was in the qualifier with Dave Palm. And in Austin, made it all the way.
Came to get in.
Yeah. It was Schlicker and.
I don't remember who it was.
Troy Schlicker.
But Dana didn't hit a ball.
Travis Mewhirter? No.
He didn't hit a ball.
No, I didn't need to.
He had a bum shoulder.
Yeah.
He didn't
but the guy's smoking.
A ball.
But they were live streaming, and I'm like, and he's got the cat, and the cat is in the umbrella with him. And the cat is in the umbrella with him. He has a pet cat. He had a cat that was sitting under the umbrella with him. These are the guys you want to remember. You want to remember Dana. You want to remember Elvis Rodriguez on the East Coast. You want to, and there's a ton of guys on the West.
Well, there's a ton of people everywhere in every state that you go that have been grinding for years. They might not have had the means to go and play all the qualifiers, right?
Yeah.
But their GOAT status is in their own hometown or their home state.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
I know Tim Wolliver qualified a handful of times, on the AVP. He's one of the best in Texas. So was Dale Davis. He qualified. He was on AVP.
Yep.
They're one of the best that come out of course, Riley coming out of Texas too.
Riley.
In a whole different way.
Jesus.
Whole different way. He would have been a star no matter what, anywhere he played.
Hey, Olympic gold medal.
100%.
And the team captain at 6'1".
Yeah.
And never played NCAA ball.
Yep.
What more can you say about
Pierce?
Pierce was NAIA.
NAIA?
Yeah, they weren't NCAA.
Yeah, I thought they were.
But Pierce was fierce, though.
Yeah,
Pierce,
they had a lot of people play for the
Cole
college.
Fear's dad played at Pierce. Cole Fear's, who played at Stanford. His father, on the west side, on the West Coast, they say a lot of great stories about Cole's dad. And Cole went to the smart kid school. Good for him.
I just like the grinders, man. The people who grinded forever. Nick still out there doing it.
Nick's a grinder,
that's he's awesome too. I love that aspect of the guys who have longevity and what they've done.
That says a lot about you that you know Elvis, though. How far.
He was great.
How coast to coast you go. Like Elvis is someone that we just know in the city. And
nobody talks about that guy.
Yeah. And old school, when he played for Crail for Nationals, this dude's an outside hitter winning all tournament team as an OH because there was no libero back then.
Yeah.
So he's an OH. 1992 Open men's national champions with Carlito and David Jack and those. Since we're mentioning East Coast guys there, West Indian, because that's what Crail. Crail was a mixture of people on the island, Haitians and Dominicans. Yeah. So and they're all great players.
I knew Elvis came down to a lot of tournaments down in Florida.
Yeah.
Because of
East End. Easy from the trap.
East End with Rich Howells' tournaments.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rich was.
A great game. I saw him against Carambola and
Adrian.
Nick, playing small ball. Adrian and Nick, I saw them play. Seydou is a guy that was after your time.
I met Adrian once.
Ghana, West Africa. Yeah.
I met Adrian once in Panama City Beach.
Yeah. Still got a sky ball.
Oh.
Guys in an FIVB game scores 17-17. He serves 4 sky balls and 2 of them are aces.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was in Cancun.
Yeah.
They beat the
Yeah.
Dutch.
Yeah.
With
That was windy,
with force,
windy.
yeah.
That was.
But there's some people that are like, what? Are you kidding? This is my enhancer.
Well,
Yeah.
the balls on him.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know, let's do confidence in his serve.
Yeah.
That's what I should say.
Testicular
It's not
fortitude.
balls. Anybody can have balls. And miss it.
Testicular fortitude would
You know,
be nice.
Well, you know what I mean. But he had the confidence in his skill.
Yeah.
In his skill to do that,
That
at
even-
that moment in that match.
Even
and that's
that
incredible.
even to this day, still a top 15 world, maybe even top 10 depending on his partner. Him and Rossi played really well together. He's with Alice Rangiri right now.
Yeah.
And Rangiri's a partner where you don't have to worry about dealing with your partner. And that's what Karambula needs. He needs a partner where he don't have to where his partner has to deal with him and he ain't got to deal with his partner.
Well, I think that's key to anything in doubles beach volleyball is the trust of that person. I'm always going to point to my right as a left side player.
Oh yeah, there he is.
Yeah, that guy. It's the trust
He's
in
doing
your
on my bed.
Right. It's the trust in your partner. Hey, I picked you for a reason. You're here for a reason. And if I don't have the utmost confidence, why am I playing with you?
Right.
Is it just because we got points and we're going to get in the main? Man,
Yeah.
that
But
that
mostly,
shouldn't
why does
be
it feel like I'm playing 3 against 1? There are some partners
Yeah.
you're like, you feel.
Yep.
I mean, well, you
Like
don't
they're
make the draw if
fighting
you're
you.
playing 3 against 1.
And to be honest, Dana was kind of like that sometimes playing
Yeah.
with you. He'd start bitching at you, and it's like, dude, who are you talking to?
Yeah, just chill
Like
out.
you don't make any mistakes ever. Shut up.
You're gonna get left.
That's a
at this
bad
tournament,
partner.
dude.
We won a lot, but they weren't.
Do you want people taking years off your life, dude?
No, you don't. You don't need anybody. You want somebody who's easy to play with. You want somebody who's right there with you, thinking about the game the same way you are.
Right.
And you don't have to worry about their skill. You don't have to worry about anything else either.
I love that.
I do too. It's always been fun to have somebody like that next to you.
Cool. Yeah.
And that's how you should always treat your partner, even if they're not playing that well.
Yep.
With
That's why I hate to go back to John Mayer for like the 20th time in the podcast, but the man's had. If you look at his last 4 partners, he's had success with all of them. It's Trevor Crabb. He played with Trevor for a little bit. He played with Avery Drost at the end, and they did well. Avatar, he won New Orleans with Avatar, actually.
Yeah.
And then in between Stafford Slick every now and here and then. So he's always been. He's like Todd because you always knew he was going to be a coach because he had that mind. And
that's okay too.
Yeah.
That's okay too.
No, those guys are great players. Those guys are gold medalists.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just saying it's okay even to somebody to be the one coach on the team.
Yep. Well, there's
somebody who recognizes it a little bit more than the other, but it's even better if you have 2 people who recognize things about each other.
Yeah.
I will.
Have you ever seen a partnership with this 50-50 control? That animal that doesn't exist. So I agree.
Yes, it does.
I've never seen a partnership where there's always a 60-40. There's always somewhere that has someone, and there's and you're going to have partners that are interchangeable.
Yeah.
That can take control if you need it, but it could be like Derek. How do you want to play this?
Yeah.
That give up that control. So
I was going to say, playing with Dale in Dallas. I don't think there's anybody else I'd rather step on the court with.
Yep.
To this day.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to anybody else I've ever played with.
Nope.
But it was just stupid easy.
Mm-hmm.
It really was. It was almost knew what he was thinking, and even if we didn't live in the same city, when we got on the court, it was the mutual respect back and forth was there. Now, was I more of a fiery player and through the net?
Yeah.
More than him? Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was the yin to my yang on that. He was more calculated.
So your styles complemented each other?
Yes.
Right.
So maybe there was all right, let's go 75-25 on the aggressiveness. No, not that bad. He'd get mad too. Don't get me wrong.
That's pretty cool.
He had his fiery moments, and he'd bitch at somebody. And who are you talking to like that?
Relax.
But he was more the calm guy, as me being more aggressive and fired up about destroying a ball in front of your face. I'm gonna let you know. And he's just going to hit it and go, yeah, well, I know I'm going to do that to you.
Yeah.
Kind of attitude.
My
so
guy, man.
that was difference in that. But on the court, as in seeing things, defensively, blocking, setting, hitting, with everything, I put him right there with me 50-50 as a player.
I like that.
Yeah.
Who's the best conditioned partner you ever played with?
No one could ever outdo me.
That was you. Cool.
That's how I felt.
Well, John said K-Spear. He said Jeremy. So I thought that was a pretty good answer because Jeremy at that time was
somebody who was the best conditioned.
Yeah. That's you. Bell to bell. You were the one not tired. Then it's you.
I just put in that work.
Yeah.
I always put in that work to not get tired.
Yep.
And so that way I knew in a match you're not going to tire me out. I'm never going to give up.
No.
I've had BJ Saldano back in the day. I'm playing with Bill Make, and he's playing with Jake Elliott.
What's up?
An East End tournament in Clearwater. And it was old school side out.
I love it.
And
Yeah.
me and Bill are getting whooped. I mean, 5-1 side change, 9-1 side change, okay, 12-3 side change, okay, just
12-3.
getting whooped, okay, and I turned it around.
Yeah.
I turned it around and started digging balls, and Bill was not the best. He was no hand setter, and his bump sets were 5 feet off of a dig. You know, he just wasn't great blocker, great player.
Yeah.
You know, won a bunch of games with that man. He's a great dude. I just started digging more balls, and then we crept back, and they wound up beating us 15-12.
Yeah.
And it was a handful of rallies in the whole thing. And I remember BJ looking at me and going, "Zimmerman, you want a timeout?"
And you're like,
And
no.
I'm laying on the ground because, I'm pooped or whatever. And
Yeah.
I just looked at him and went, fuck
too,
no.
Too proud.
No, I just looked at him and went, fuck no. And popped right up and went, hope you served me. And he's just looking at me like, what? Like, and he came up to me after that match. I mean, they beat us, a great team.
Dude, you're like
And he came up to me and goes, dude, how do you have that much? And we weren't even serving him.
Yeah.
Okay, we were serving Jake every ball because, smaller guy, whatnot. And I'm telling you, he was just like, how do you have all this energy? And I went,
You're like this.
come down to New Orleans and play in the
Yes.
heat with me, and let's go for 3 hours every day. Come on.
That's to
You'll
me,
be
that's
right
what
there.
prime Kristen and Corey and
It's
whatever.
got a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
I think so too.
There's a reason in Atlanta they went to the qualifier, to the draw,
Yep.
and then beat the brakes off of Sponsel and Clays. It's because they were primed and trained in this weather.
Yep.
And those AVP Americas, you'd have to play 4 or 5 matches a day on Saturday and Sunday.
right.
So the AVP, winners bracket? We just stay here?
Yeah.
5 matches? Come
Yeah.
on, show
he
me where I sign up next.
And like we talked about earlier in this,
Yeah.
that California is the mecca to go out to.
Yeah.
But, it's got the greatest weather.
It's got the deep
But-
sand, and that's the only
Yeah,
thing.
the deep sand or whatever. But what about when you go play in Atlanta, in South Florida, in New Orleans, in these hot cities where the
Yeah.
humidity's just, you're breathing air.
Those are
How are you going to function?
It's the ultimate neutral ground,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, everybody's said it for years on the AVP that the guys didn't want to go down to Florida and go play in those tournaments because they're cramping, they're catching IV bags and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's part of the game. You got to go play in every element. Just like playing football, you got to be able to play in the snow. You got to be able to play in the rain. It's not everything's in a dome, right?
The story you reminded me that you just told me, you remind me of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, I'm a wrestling head back in the day. I'm watching the Royal Rumble, right?
Oh Lord.
So he gets in the Royal Rumble and he's throwing out people, right? And he's still in the Rumble and nobody likes him, so they start kicking the shit out of him. But eventually they turn on each other. They dump each other over the ring, and whoever's left, he waits and he dumps them over. And he's beat. He's laying on the ground. And when he lays on the ground, he does this. Like for the countdown, like who's next? Because every 2 minutes, the way the Royal Rumble works, every 2 minutes, another wrestler enters the ring until you have 30. So another 2 minutes, when there's a 10-second countdown, the crowd would count down. So when the crowd was counting down, he's on the ground.
Bring it.
And it looks like he has nothing left. And he's and he just does this. Like, and the story you told me is you're like the Louisiana Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, that's funny.
Hey, Derek.
Yes, sir.
You beat Bobby Jones, my man.
Oh, Jesus.
Bobby was 148. You beat him by 10 minutes.
Sorry, Bobby.
Yeah.
I'm not letting you beat me in anything ever. I love you to death, though.
There's definitely stuff we got to cut out of this, but you definitely got him beat. I think he had 147.
That's all right. Bobby's a good dude.
Hey, pleasure.
Same, man.
Appreciate
you asking me to do this.
Yeah. Long for you and me. Conversation a year ago. I thought this podcast was a year in the making in the back of my head, and I'm glad we made it happen in this shitty hotel where,
be honest with
like,
you, man,
if the drawers couldn't hold the microphones, like a lot of this is edited out, but
that's all right. There's some gold in there somewhere.
Something you're not going to see on this broadcast is everything that went wrong.
Everything that went wrong. That's a whole blooper reel on YouTube itself.
Yeah, we heartbreak ridged improvised, dude.
Well, there's a lot of things that we could do this thing for 5 hours, so. Oh, jeez.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. We could do this for 5 hours. There's so much to talk about
It's
From-
like fucking Joe Rogan and Alex Jones.
There's so much that we could talk about the old school that shaped this area. There's so much and
Yeah.
so many people from the surrounding areas, to Houston, the Gulf Shores, to Panama City Beach.
Yeah.
There's so many players around here that shaped me, this area, this style, this and other players who have come from this.
And all of them have been
Yeah.
accommodating too. I really
100%.
big up to Bruce, big up to Evan Corey for reaching out to me to get on the podcast because he's the one that kind of got my eye on Louisiana beach volleyball.
Yeah.
Because he's been live streaming his matches every weekend. The guy's a stud. He's like, I'm in the finals losing or I'm in the finals winning,
Yeah.
and I was so proud of him. The guy didn't qualify for Atlanta. You know what this motherfucker does? He gets on the plane, flies to Seaside for the next day tournament, wins that, and
Yeah.
gets a bid for Chicago, which
Yeah.
is the tournament
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
got to
coach,
coach.
Yeah.
So look, all right, we're out of here. Zimmerman might love you guys, but I can't stand you, all right? In fact, I'm out of here. I'm getting the fuck out of here. So for all of you at home, for all of you on your iPad or iPhone, or for all of you at the lunch line at Starbucks, for my man Derek Zimmerman, I'm Jason DeBelius. Stay with me. We're going to hit my music, and we are out of here. Let's do that.
Nice.
Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify, and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.